Hello students. Yesterday we have just finished the mathematical tools that you have just told me to teach you. So that's why I think now that all topics that are needed here to understand the physics concept that is clear to you, and these are not actually sufficient, but still the problems that you are just solving here, for that problems it is really enough for you, so you can practice it more and more with the more problems. So just practice it. And from today, as we are just discussing in the classes the thermodynamics topics, so we will discuss its conceptual problem here. So one by one, let's discuss the conceptual problem first of all on all the chapters, so that you can be prepared for your examinations also, and you can understand more clear way the basic facts that you are using. So one by one, I'm not going to write here the conceptual problems. I will speak. Let's try to listen it and try to answer it by yourself first of all. After that, just listen my answers. What I just want to tell you, I will not only just tell you the answer. I will explain it also why this is the answer for this question. So let's start it, students, and try to first of all after every question try to pause the video and to try to give the answer. After that, let's match that to answers with my answer, so that you can be prepared for your examinations in more better way. First thing is that the question is that, can water be boiled without heating? Means, can you boil the water without heating? So normally we are boiling the water without heating. Means boiling the water with some supply of heat. We are just providing it heat to boil it. So can you do it or not? This is the question. So I think you know its answer, and if you know, then it's better. If you don't know, then try to understand it. As in the case of thermodynamics, two types of things that we have discussed. The concept of internal energy and also the concept of work done here. So you can here change in state. The main factor is that here we are talking about the boiling of water. After boiling, it will convert into the vapor state. So it means that here we are talking about the change in state. So change in state can be possible with two ways. First is that with the help of heat energy. Secondary thing is that with the help of work done. So or in other word, I just told you already that there are two possible way to change the state here. The first possible way is that if you will change the temperature. Second possible way is that if you change the pressure. So if whenever you are changing the temperature, it means that you are providing heat to the system. If changing the temperature, not here I am talking about the lowering the temperature, that times water will be cooled. Here boiling of water we are talking about. So and obviously I am just talking about to increase the temperature. So if you are increasing the temperature, in that case it means temperature is increasing, we are providing heat to the system here. So if heat energy is provided, then that time state can be changed or water can be boiled. Secondly thing is that if you are just keeping temperature as a constant, you are changing its pressure. Means you are putting some piston and we are using some mechanical work for the boiling of water. So yes, with the application of pressure, you can increase the pressure, you can boil the water also. So there are two process, always keep that factor in your mind. You can change the temperature, you can change the pressure, both times works are performed on the system. And also if work is performing on the system, then that time if temperature is changing, means heat energy you are supplying. If pressure is changing, it means that you are doing some mechanical work on the system. So if we are not changing the temperature, answer is that we are not changing the temperature. That time with the application of pressure, we can boil the water also. Next question is that again same question is that, can we increase the temperature of gas without heating it? So here the question is little just a reverse question of the previous question. In previous question, as I was talking about, if we are changing the temperature, it means that we are providing heat to it. So in what's the problem, you can say that if we are providing heat to any system, it means that we are changing its temperature. Like if one hand of both that is very hot and other is cold, so if you will make them in contact, then heat is transferred from here, means we are changing with the application or with the transfer of heat, we are changing its temperature. So and also its temperature, after some time the temperature becomes constant, the system will be in thermal equilibrium and we will not feel this hand hot anymore. So this is the reason here, if you will provide heat energy, then you can change the temperature. But without providing the heat energy, can you change the temperature or not? So again the answer is the same, students. You can change the temperature. First of all, you have some of the processes. So processes like isothermal process, adiabatic process. So in the case of isothermal process, as temperature is constant here, and here we are talking about the change in temperature, then for that process we are not talking. If you will come in the adiabatic cases, then in adiabatic process, there are two types of process: compression or expansion of any gas or system. Sorry guys. So if we are compressing the system, means we are doing some work on it, we are changing the pressure. So by the change in pressure, if we are doing something on the system, we are doing some work on the system, means we are adding some energy into it. Then by addition of energy, the internal energy of the system that gets increases, and also the internal energy that is related to temperature. So whenever internal energy will change, temperature will change automatically, or in other word you can say, if temperature will change, obviously its internal energy will also change. So as internal energies are due to two cases. First is due to the configuration of molecules of the system through which it is made up of, due to the motion of the molecules. So there are kinetic energy and potential energy that is possessing by the system due to its molecular configuration and molecular motion. So that is known as the internal energy. As in case of perfect gas, we are taking that some of the assumptions like you have studied already in the case of kinetic theory of gases. In that case, a number of assumptions we are taking, and with the help of that assumptions, as there is no intermolecular attractive forces between two molecules, means they have no any configurations, so their potential energy molecules are not possessing, only kinetic energy they are possessing, they are always in the motion. So here the total internal energy for perfect gas, that is totally kinetic. So the question is that if internal energy will change, temperature will change, and you can change internal energy, I just told you, by two methods again. Here actually in all the thermodynamics chapter, 3-4 things are very important. The concept of temperature, pressure, work, heat, internal energy. So if you just understood all these concepts, the 5 concepts especially, then you can understand all the concepts here easily. So here if you are changing the pressure, you are doing some mechanical work, then we can change the temperature with if a process that you are using, that is adiabatic process, means in other words we can say that we can change the temperature of the gas by doing the compression or by compressing it under the adiabatic condition, then that time we can do it. So I think the question about the isothermal and adiabatic changes, that is clear. The question about heat and work, that is clear. How can you change the temperature without supplying heat, or how can you boil the water without supplying any or without changing any temperature? So that time you can use mechanical work, you can change the pressure also for it. Next question is that is the heat supplied to the system always equal to the increase in its internal energy? So it means that if heat is supplied to the system, then always system is using it to increase its internal energy or not. So for that case you can take the help of first law of thermodynamics here. So first law of thermodynamics we have, that is delta is equal to du plus delta w. Means in two ways the heat supplied to the system is used. First is to increase its internal energy. Second is to do some work on the system. So in the process, suppose that if we have some isovolumic process, so in the case of isovolumic where volume is not changing, then the change in, obviously you can write here the change in work that is equal to dV also. So if we are just talking about the isovolumic process, for that case V is constant, volume is constant, and if you will take change in volume, that will be equal to 0. So if this factor is 0, it means that whole of the heat that will be used to increase its internal energy. So this is possible that all the heat you are supplying to the system, that can be used to increase its internal energy totally, and the process in which it is possible, that is isovolumic process here. Next question is that is the internal energy of a gas is a function of pressure or not. So still I am just explaining this from the starting. Internal energy of the gas, that is depending on two factors. This is first case is that if you are supplying heat to the system, that time internal energy will change. If you are doing some mechanical work, that time also internal energy will change. Then definitely if we are supplying heat, it means that we are changing the temperature of the system. Secondary thing is that if we are doing some mechanical work, it means that we are changing its pressure. So obviously if we are changing the pressure, internal energy is changing. So internal energy is the function of pressure also. So whenever we are not changing the temperature, like in isothermal conditions, that time internal energy be the function of pressure also. But still, actually it's been seen that whenever we are just using to change in pressure under the isothermal condition, the internal energy is not changing all in this case. So purely if you will see that it is depending on the pressure constant, but because whenever we are doing some of the mechanical work, in that case it is possible that some of the heat will be supplied to the system, means it will change the temperature of the system also. So if temperature of the system will change, then it is not possible that only pressure can be the dependent function here, or only internal energy can be dependent on the pressure. Basically internal energy changes whenever there is change in temperature. So it is depending totally on the temperature. Whenever there is a change in energy, change in temperature takes place, the internal energy also takes place with the same thing. So as you can see it how. So suppose that we are not doing any of the mechanical work here. In that case, the total heat that is we are using, that will change the internal energy. And if heat supply that is equal to 0, in that case the work done that will be equal to the internal energy of the system. So total work done that we are doing on the system, that will be equal to internal energy here. So I think this concept, this question is clear. In this question, two things are here, friends. Whenever we are talking about the perfect gas, then for the perfect gas, the dependency of internal energy is totally on the temperature only. It is not dependent on the pressure in the case of perfect gas. But whenever we are talking about the real gases, then in the case of real gases, always the internal energy that are dependent on the two factors, that is pressure and temperature both. So the discussion that we have just done here, that was for real gases. So I think now that is clear. So whenever we are talking about ideal gas, then that time it will be only dependent on the temperature, not on the pressure here. Next question is that why is conversion of heat into work not possible without a sink at lower temperature? So when we were studying the concept of heat engine, then there we have seen that we have some source, and some of the heat that is just we are withdrawing from this source, and some of the mechanical work that is done here, and rest of the heat that is rejected to the sink that is at lower temperature. So here in this case we have seen this case. Why if you are not taking sink here, then can we obtain the work here continuously or not? So without sink we cannot get continuous work. Reason is that here, as a idle engine, that is not possible, means all of the heat that we are withdrawing from the source, that can convert into we can convert into the work, that is not possible. In that case, if we are talking about the idle engine, then this case is possible also there. So in that case, if you are taking any of the energy from here, that whole of the heat energy that you can use to convert it into the mechanical work, so continuous heat that will be withdrawing from the source, in that case only for idle engine. But for real engines that we are talking, real engine cannot convert all of the heat that is taking from the source into the mechanical work. So some of the heats that is still here after doing work, that should be rejected to some any other system. Otherwise the mechanical system that is doing work, that will get heated and no work can perform further with the help of that. So continuous work we cannot take it from it. So for that case, heat rejection is very important. So for heat rejections we are using sink at lower temperature always. So without sink, even we cannot keep our system in the continuous work condition. So the next question is that here, that is first law of thermodynamics does not forbid flow of heat from lower temperature to higher temperature. So normally students, it is clear that heat always flows from hot body to cold body, means higher temperature to lower temperature. It cannot flow from lower to higher temperature without any application of external agency. So here first law of thermodynamics doesn't tell anything about that. So you can see from here, suppose that internal energy of the system that is 0, means process is totally isothermal. In that condition, internal energy, we are talking about the gas here. So in that case, if du is equal to 0, you can say that here all of the heat energy that is supplying to the system, that is converted into work here. So first of all, first law of thermodynamics doesn't tell us anything about the source here, whether we are using cold source or we are using any hot body here. And if we are using any of the cold body, means lower temperature, and we are just withdrawing heat from the real lower temperature, heat from the cold body, and after that we are doing some work heat from it. So this is just the reversible process. Always we are withdrawing heat from the hot body, like if one hand that is hot and the other is cold, then sometimes it is not possible that normally in nature you have seen that you are not seeing such types of any cases in which one hand that is cold that becomes more cold and that is heated that becomes more heated, means some of the heat that is extracted from the cold body and supplied to the hot body. So in this case, first law of thermodynamics even told us these things also. Here only the thing is that if heat is supplying from any body, it will be converted into some of the work here. So in this way, if it is not forbidding any types of flow of heat, whether means it tells us that heat can flow from hot to cold body and also from cold to hot body. So the reason is that why we needed the second law of thermodynamics for that. That is the reason here. The things that is not cleared by the first law of thermodynamics, number of things were there. First thing is that flow of heat is not clear here, because it tells us that heat can be flow from a cold body to hot body, means we can withdraw heat from the cold body and we can reject it to the hot body. So in that case, this system will become more cool and this will be more hot. So this is not the natural conditions that we are seeing. Only we can obtain this condition whenever we are using some external energy source, like if you are using refrigerators. In that case, already there is the temperature lower than the surroundings, summers as you are using. In that case, we are using as the external agency, that is electric power supply that you are using. So with the help of electric energy that is adding to it, means the heat that is extracted from the objects that we have put under the refrigeration, that is just transferring via it to hot body. So here we are just doing a reversible process, but here we are using some of the external agency. If you are not using any electric power supply, then that time refrigerator doesn't cool any of the object that is placed into it. So that time the temperature just maintained everywhere, so no of the objects you can cool it. So that's why second law of thermodynamics told us about these things. So first law of thermodynamics, some question can be asked to you, where first of the law of thermodynamics are limited, and which of the things it couldn't explain, and which are the discrepancies of it, so that we just needed a new law of thermodynamics there. And the second law of thermodynamics totally talk about these two concepts. First of that is heat cannot transfer from cold to hot body without any application of external source. It can be only transfer from hot to cold body if natural process without any source we are using it. And only in that condition we can transfer heat from cold body to hot body, like AC and refrigerators we are using. In that case, we are using some external agency, external power supply to maintain its power, to do some mechanical work on it, so that it can extract heat from the cold body and it can reject it to the hot body or surroundings. That is about it. So I think now that is clear. Here what are the discrepancies of the first law of thermodynamics, and even what are the concepts of the second law of thermodynamics. So if the question is that refrigeration is the process on law of thermodynamics or second law of thermodynamics, so totally second law of thermodynamics told us about it how to convert or how to extract heat from the cold body to the hot body. So where we are using actually both law of thermodynamics, but especially second law of thermodynamics helps a lot for that AC and refrigerations here. Next question is that I think the questions regarding to the first law of thermodynamics, friends, that is clear. So here number of questions are like here questions can be asked based on internal energy, or on the first law of thermodynamics, or the things that it is explaining, as the number of processes that you can explain by it, like when you will get isothermal conditions, when you will get adiabatic condition, isotonic conditions, all these conditions can be explained with the help of first law of thermodynamics easily. Next is as we have just about heat engine and refrigerator. So heat engines are that which can withdraw some heat from the hot body or source that we call it, that is at higher temperature, and we can do some mechanical work by using this heat that we have extracted, and the rest of the heat that can be rejected to some sink or the body that is at lower temperature to cool it. So in this way we are just doing a continuous work, that is the heat engine. And if we are talking about the idle heat engine, that is Carnot engine, in that case we can even do the reverse process in that. So idle heat engines that can convert whole of the heat that is withdrawing from the source, that can be converted into the mechanical work there. Means the internal energy, change in internal energy there, that is zero. No change in internal energy takes place for the idle gas and there. So in that conditions, if heat is supplying to it, it will be converted totally into the mechanical work. But still 100% efficiency of engines that are not possible. So some of the heat that will be rejected to the sink at lower temperature. Next thing is that as we have talked about reversible and irreversible processes. So reversible processes are that in this, if suppose we have two states, one is A state, second is B, and we are changing A state into B by some method, and again we are just we are changing this state B into A again. So in that case, if all the processes, all the quasi-static processes that is taking place while changing A to B, or in the this thermodynamic process, it will return by the same quasi-static process that we were adopted while changing a state from A to B. That time it is known as reversible process. So in this process, actually, the for pure reversible process, it is necessary that no of the heat should be lost here. If some of the heat will be lost, then in that case process will not be, first of all, quasi-static process. Also, the path taken for the change here, or the intermediate that is formed between these states, that should be again formed when we are returning this path, and we are just going to use the process in the reverse order. So such types of processes are reversible process, like melting and boiling of the. So if we are just using to melt the ice, pure ice, about that we are talking about. So after melting it, so it means if its state is converting from solid to liquid, then after that again if you will use it to convert from liquid to solid, then in that case means you are freezing it, then that case again you can obtain the same concept, but still as some of the things, some of the noise that is lost, but you can take nearly this process is reversible process in nature. Like in that case again you can take the boiling process, in that water is converted into vapor, you can convert again water into the vapor. So it means that this process is also the reversible process, means reverse order condition that is possible. If I am thinking about the irreversible processes, then mostly all the natural processes are irreversible in nature. Like if you are just applying heat to any plastic and now it is deformed, then again you want to reform it, then it is not possible, means the process was here reversible process. Or also some of the chemical changes, it's if it's done here like rusting, you can see that, then again it cannot convert to here, means if it is just oxidizing, after that the oxidation is not possible there, that way. So in the same way, if all the processes are repeating, that is known as reversible process. Also some of the isothermal conditions are reversible, as melting and boiling is also the isothermal conditions, so that are reversible. Some of the adiabatic processes are reversible also. So and if we are talking about the systems or engines that we have talked here, so irreversible, normal all engines are irreversible engines, and if we are talking about Carnot engine, then that can work in the reverse order, means the idle heat engine can withdraw heat from hot body and it can perform some work, and it can also reject some of the heat from the cold body, some work done on the system, and after that the heat reject to the cold body. So in that case reverse order problem is possible here, but still in the real engines it is not possible. No of the engine can withdraw heat from the cold body and do some of the work. So this is not the possible cases until we are using some of the external sources. So question is that can we use Carnot engine in our daily life practice or not? So as we have already discussed that it is not possible to withdraw heat from the cold body and to do some work from it and reject the rest of the heat to the hot body, it is not possible. And Carnot engine talks about that without any application of the external agency. We are not using here any external sources for this conversion, only by naturally reverse process we are taking here. So that is not possible, that is the violation of second law of thermodynamics totally. So it means that Carnot engine we cannot use in our daily life in the reverse order. Only the one order, like if you are rejecting heat to the sink and you are taking heat from the source, that is possible, but still Convection talks that all of the heat we can convert into the mechanical work. That is also not possible. Some of the heat is converted into mechanical work. So that is means efficiency of real engines that is not equal to idle engine. The efficiency of idle engine that is 100%, but normal engines have efficiency only less than 80% always. So next question is that again with related to the idle heat engine, like we always say that no real engine can have greater efficiency than the Carnot engine. So what is the reason behind that? Because in case of Carnot engine we say that all of the heat that is withdrawn from the system that can be converted into mechanical heat means mechanical work. No of the heat is just lost here, all of the heat energy we have used here, but it is not possible as we are using for the withdrawing of heat or doing some mechanical work we are using pistons and insulators. So no, there is no body which is perfect insulator, or we cannot use such types of piston which is totally frictionless. We cannot we can't have such types of surfaces which are perfectly conducting. Means if we are putting the some of the systems on the source and we can withdraw heat from total heat from it, but here this surface is not perfectly conducting, so some of the heat will be lost here also. So due to imperfection of the conduction here, as we have already the walls that are not perfectly conducting, some of the frictions that is present in the piston. So there is also some of the loss of heat that is due to such types of perfections that is in the system. So real engine, obviously it's some of the heat energy that is lost to overcome the friction of the piston, to overcome or some of the heat is lost from the non-conducting walls from it, because it's not perfectly conducting. So obviously rest of the heat is only that can be converted into the work here. So it is not possible to convert all of the heat from the in the case of real engines, because in case of ideal engines, as we have used the non-perfecting frictionless pistons, non-perfecting walls, totally non-perfecting walls, totally conducting walls, totally non-conducting walls, totally conducting walls, such types of things we have used, that is not realistic in nature. That some of the, because no perfect conditions we have, so that's why we cannot make such types of engine. Now that is, I think friends, that is clear. In this chapter we have discussed these things only, like we have discussed heat engine, we have discussed reversible irreversible process, first law of thermodynamics, second law of thermodynamics, and number of processes here, and the concept of heat, work, internal energy, and other things. So I think the conceptual question and the concepts that are needed here, that are is what you can understand it very easily. So the conceptual problems that we have discussed here on the chapter thermodynamics, I think that is clear, and that is it here. But some of the questions I will take next day also, and also take the conceptual question based on kinetic theory of gases, and later I will take it for the thermal properties of matter. So these three chapters we will take at once, so that you can understand it, because all the chapters are interrelated to each other. So let's take them the next classes. For today, let's end it here.